Ready? Okay. Our speaker this morning is Sheri Wiltse. Okay.
Good job.
Sheri has a passion for working with people with disabilities, and it has given them the opportunity to realize their dreams. She embraces each day as a challenge to make a positive difference in someone's life, whether a person with a disability, a friend, a coworker, or a complete stranger. Sheri started in the field of disabilities in 1981, working at the day camp for kids with disabilities in Springfield, Missouri. After getting a degree in special education at Missouri State University, she returned to St. Louis and worked for a year at the St. Louis ARC. In 1984, she started working at Community Living, Inc., and after working in various capacities for Community Living, Sheri accepted the position of Chief Program Officer in 1998, overseeing programs for approximately 1,100 children and adults with disabilities. In January of 2023, she took over as President and CEO. I want everybody to welcome Sheri Wiltse. Thank you.
Do I need to use the microphone or can I just stand in the middle?
You don't need to use the microphone.
Got it.
Because we're recording it and people
Will do.
Thank you.
While Lily's getting that all set up, I'm going to move this a little bit. We did bring a basket of fun giveaways. One of the cool things that we do is that we go out into the community and we, tell everybody about our magic. We're very excited about what we do. Community Living has been around since 1978. But there are my cards out there. There's some literature about community living, and then there's also some fun giveaways, and we'll leave that basket. Ready? Okay, let's go. So one of the unique things about community living, I'm going to knock something off. I know it's going to happen. Is that all of the services that we provide are provided in St. Charles County. So we typically serve St. Charles County residents. We do serve people from St. Louis periodically, Warren County, Lincoln County, etc. But the majority of the 1,100 people, 1,000 people today that we serve live in St. Charles County. Just some fun facts. We have about 150 volunteers in any given year. Our volunteers come and they work in our day programs. I'll tell you about that in a minute. They work fundraising events for us. We do a lot of fundraising events. We also do a lot of outreach events. Our board of directors, we have a board of directors currently of 19 people. They're all volunteers. Their time is donated to us. Our board of directors is basically, we have family members of people with disabilities, lawyers, insurance people, principals, people who are retired, people who are just interested in community living. So the board of directors is a very dedicated and amazing group of people. We have about a $14-15 million budget annually. We serve about 1,000 people. We serve, or we have probably at any given moment right now, probably 275. Let me just back up real quickly. This is Michelle Martin-Yotis. She is our Director of Human Resources. And Lily Brower, she is our Human Resources Coordinator. My support team for today. Anyway, but we have anywhere from about 250 to 275 employees at any given moment. We have a pretty large footprint in St. Charles County, really giving back to our community by employing those folks. And we have 4 unique programs, which I'm going to tell you about. Okay, employment services. People with disabilities have the exact same dreams, desires, hopes, wishes, etc. that any of us do. One of the cool programs that we have is an employment services program. So we help people with intellectual developmental disabilities get employed in the community, making minimum wage and or better. At any given moment, like people will make $18 an hour, $20 an hour, $22 an hour. Right now we have approximately 90 people employed in the community working at a variety of different jobs of their choosing. So basically employment services, we bring people in, they might be 18, they might be 50, and we assess their employability. Do they have the capacity to have a job? Then we want to know, what are their desires? What do they want to do? You know, we have folks that come in and say, I want to be an airline pilot. Well, I might too, but that's not going to happen for us. So let's go back to something a little bit more realistic. So we help them realize, you know, here's your lofty dream. here's what's really possible today for us, for me, for you in this community. So we find a job that is a good match for them. Then we go on site with them and job coach. So job coaching basically would look like if I got you a job at Target, I'd go with you and we'd do that job as one person. As you become more independent, learn the job more readily, then I'm going to fade off. I'll back off. Maybe I won't come every day. Maybe I'll only spend 15 minutes at the beginning and the end of your shift. So then we have the person who is now independent in their job in the community, bringing home a paycheck, giving back to their community. Then what's really cool about our program is that we go back and then visit them twice a month for the lifetime of the job, just to make sure that they're successful. So picture you're at work and your boss suddenly comes in and says, hey, you know what, I want you to do this, this, and this, not this, this, and this. Panic time. So imagine somebody with an intellectual developmental disability. They may really be struggling with that change. We will swoop back in, we will help them be independent, we'll go back on site until they can do that job independently again. And then once again, we back off and we go visit twice a month. There's a woman, currently she's back working in the hotel industry, but she was at the Marriott for 35 years, and we visited her twice a month for 35 years. Now she's in another hotel, and we're doing the exact same thing. Anyway, next slide. So, respite services. Before I go on to, I wanted to just, who in this room has experience with people with intellectual developmental disabilities or has heard that term? Okay, decent amount. So an intellectual developmental disability basically means that you have a limitation in 2 or more, 3 or more areas of your life, and you might need assistance periodically in getting through your day, whether it be in your work life, in your recreational life, in your living. So those are the people that we serve. When I say we serve 1,000 people, people with intellectual developmental disabilities. So our respite services, we have 3 different kinds. One is, it's not a program where we provide employees, it's a program where we help people get funding. So there's an organization called the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board. It is a Senate Bill 40 board in St. Charles County, and they provide funding for a person, families, to get help for their loved one with a disability in their own home. So the employer-employee relationship is between mom and dad, brother, sister, whatever, and the person with a disability. But we're the flow-through. So it's a $1.4 million flow-through of funding. So, and there's like 500 people every year that we help get that funding so that they can get a little bit of a break. Respite means relief. So that type of in-home, you may not want your loved one to go into a residential setting or to a day program or something, but you still need some help in your home. So that's what that in-home respite is. Then we have another facility in the city of St. Charles. It's called our Respite Care Home. Actually, Community Living in 1978 was founded using that home. So the taxpayers said, hey, we want to tax ourselves. We want to create a program for people with disabilities. And the Respite Care Home on Mayor Drive was built based on that tax initiative. Anyway, so the Respite Care Home is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long. And basically, it is for people with disabilities of all ages. We've had infants, we've had toddlers, we've had 80-year-olds. To come to this Respite Care Home, it's a very homey environment. We have 4 different bedrooms. It looks like a home. There's a recreation room. There's a beautiful backyard. But people might come there for a couple hours, a couple of days, or a couple of weeks. Reasons you might come there is mom and dad want to go to service on a Sunday morning, and that person with a disability, that would be very disruptive. They would not enjoy that at all. Maybe they go to the Respite Care Home for 2 or 3 hours while mom and dad have an enjoyable experience. Let's say that you're a 40-year-old person with a disability and your primary caregiver has to have surgery. That person with a disability can come to the Respite Care Home and be well taken care of. We have family-style dining, we have fun activities, we walk to McNair Park, while the family member who is the typical caregiver then recovers. And then there are times when, one of my favorite stories is a family wanted to go to Disney. And the child with a disability, sensory issues, sensory overload, that would have been horrible for that child. Disney's kind of outrageous for anybody, but anyway, this child with a disability came to us, had a fabulous time, had a great time, had some peers that they knew staying at the respite care home, and the rest of the family got to go to Disney. Everybody had a great time. So that's one of the things, that's part of the magic that we deliver. We meet people where they are. We help people live their best lives, whatever that means to them. So that's the respite care home, and the respite care home serves anywhere between 60 to 70 people every year. Then, really cool program, the Respite Center. It is in O'Fallon. It was originally designed, it has 5 bedrooms. It was originally designed for children ages 6 to 21 who have very severe behavioral issues. Some of the kiddos that we serve have a lot of behavioral challenges, the sensory issues, things that really make life a challenge for them and for the family. And like I said, respite means relief. So this program for children ages 6 to 21 is open weekends only. Families can come and drop their child off on a Friday, go do their thing, and then come back on Sunday and pick their kid up. When the staff are energetic and they're excited and they love their jobs, so they drop their kid off on Friday afternoon, and the kid with disabilities is excited to see the staff are excited to see the kid, and they're like, Mom, Dad, what are you going to do this weekend? And they're like, we're going to go home and take a nap. Or we're going to go to the grocery store and not cause a scene. Or you know what? We're going to take our kids that do not have disabilities and we're going to go to a park. Because oftentimes the kid with a disability, just by nature of their disability, demands more time, more energy from the family and from the kids, from all the siblings. So this respite center on the weekend for the child with a disability gives that family a chance to take a break, to get a deep, long breath, to literally go home and sleep all weekend long if they need to. And we accidentally teach them skills periodically. Just because they're with us all the time and they have one-on-one for that weekend. Most of our programs are not one-on-one, but that respite center is. We had a parent show up one Sunday and they're, coming in, they're getting their kid, they're excited, they're, rejuvenated, they've had respite. And the staff's like, oh, hold on a minute, he's in the shower. And they're like, he doesn't shower. You never shower. He does not take a shower. And they're like, oops, sorry, he's showering. Bawling, tears of joy. This family had tried to get this child to take a shower for years. Our staff just set up the expectation and said, hey, dude, it's time. Come on, everybody else, your turn. Let's take a shower. Anyway, so those kinds of things, once again, that's our magic. That's why we do what we do. That's just really nothing better. And the family are just so appreciative. Okay, so that's respite. Support services for adults. So I talked about employment services. That is where people get out of high school, or they're in their 20s or 30s or 40s, and they want to get a job. So what happens to somebody who graduates from high school and is not ready for employment, may never be ready for employment? We have day programs. So they're called a multitude of things: support services for adults, dayhabilitation, day program. What they are is Monday through Friday days, typically 9 to 3. We're open like 8 to 4. And we help people with disabilities have a meaningful day. And that means something different to everybody. So everybody in this room, if I said, go out and have a meaningful day, everybody would have a different story, would have a different picture. Same thing with people with disabilities. So one of the cool things that we do, we work on communication skills, whatever that means to the person. If we need to go into Walgreens and stand behind this person while they communicate with a salesperson, great. If they're so shy and nervous that we need to do the communication for them so that they can learn from us, all good, we got that, we can do that. We do volunteer jobs like you cannot imagine. So we will, if there is a volunteer job out there, we will find it and we will do it. We dust books at the library, we take out the trash at the firehouse. We do Meals on Wheels. Alleluia Baskets, if you've heard about them, they're fabulous. Marcy's Project. We have people that go and volunteer with Marcy's Project. We make shopping bags out of old t-shirts for food pantries. We clip coupons for soldiers overseas. One of the really, really cool things that we do is that we make mats, kind of like sleeping bags, out of plastic bags for people who are homeless. And you can go on our website, you can see a couple of blogs that we've got. It's amazing. And you would not imagine, like, there are people who, like, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. Sure you can. There is a portion of that job that we can help you figure out how to do. So maybe somebody's cutting the bags. Maybe somebody's organizing the bags. Maybe somebody is literally picking up a bag from here and putting it here for the next person. We individualize our services. Everything we do is about the person that is in front of us and individualizing so that they can be successful, whatever that means to them. And we will find ways to make people successful. We have multiple sites throughout the community, and like we have 2 in St. Charles City, Darden Prairie, O'Fallon, and we're growing. This is one of the programs that we're really trying to grow. Okay. Young Adult Center. This is one of our newest programs and is just so near and dear to so many of us. So, talked about the people who go to get a job in the community, the people who know they want to go to dehabilitation, DAHAB. We discovered there were people falling through the cracks. They would go out in the community, get a job on their own, and get fired. Or they'd get a job on their own in the community and they'd feel miserable because they didn't have a peer. They didn't have a group of homies. They didn't have anybody to hang out with in the workplace. Or they'd go tour a day program and they'd walk in and they're like, no, I don't look like that. I don't act like that. I don't want to go to that program. There was nothing for them. They'd go to BCI. If you've heard of Boone Center Incorporated, BCI, they'd get fired from there. So we created the Young Adult Center. It is a program for 18 to 25-year-olds, brand new, still haven't graduated anybody from it. Part of that is staff's unwillingness to let go, because there are people who are nearing graduation. They're ready to go out on their own and do some cool stuff. Now our staff have to let go. They have to say, go be free, do your magic elsewhere. So that will come soon. We'll have a couple of graduations. Anyway, in this program, we go out and do things in the community that help them to be successful later in their life. One of the things we discovered was people didn't know how to use a gift card. So you're an adult or a young adult with a intellectual developmental disability. You've gotten gift cards your entire life, and mom and dad always grabbed it, or brother or sister grabbed it. Hey, come on, let's go. And they do it for you. So we go into a store, go ahead and spend your gift card. And the person with disabilities, they don't know how. Awesome, we got this. So there are so many little tiny things that you don't think about that help a person be independent, help somebody move forward with their own life, and you don't think about it. As simple as, I don't know how to use a gift card. I don't know how to check out at Deerberg's. I don't know how to check out at Walmart. So the things that we do at the Young Adult Center are to set them up for their future. We don't want them to stay forever. Our goal is 3 to 5 years, and we are kicking you to the curb. You're going to go out and find something else to do. Now, of course, we would always be there as a safety net. But we work on communication skills. When the program first started, I have my youngest daughter is a teacher at Null Elementary, proud mom. And we took the young adults with disabilities to the elementary school to volunteer with them. And these little 10-year-olds took these adults with disabilities on a tour. And staff backed up. They're like, it's all on you. So they had to navigate their way into the school. And you know, that's not easy anymore. You've got to push a button. You've got to find where that button is. You have to then wait for the door to click, the door to open. You've got to find the secretary. Who do you greet? How do you greet them? Simple things that you don't think about. These young adults didn't have experiences because sometimes their families just did it for them, or their staff at school just did it for them. So those kinds of interactions in the community, so that they can, if we're not there, they can go out the next time they're going to do a tour at a school. They're like, oh, hold on a minute. I know how to go. I know how to do this. I know how to go and talk to the receptionist and get myself where I need to go. So that's the whole purpose of this program, and we're so excited. It's new. We opened one in January of 23, and just a couple of months ago, we opened the second site. So we got one in St. Charles City and one in Darden Prairie. So, okay. Recreation. This is where we pay people to have fun. We serve about 350 people in an adult recreation program. So anything that you could imagine doing in your adult recreation life, blues, cardinals, concerts, the Muni, zip lining, we even did scuba diving, never again. All my gray hair, that's why, scuba diving. But we help people with intellectual developmental disabilities take a risk. You know, there are some recreational activities that are risky, but we also do it in a very safe environment. We have book club, we have dinner club, we teach not dating, but you know, hey, relationships. How do you have a good, solid relationship with somebody else? A friend, a frenemy. We all have those. And you know, maybe a significant other. So that's our adult rec program. We are operating all year long. Typically, our events are Monday through Saturday, sometimes on Sundays. Then we have our summer camp program. Summer camp, which is 9 weeks in the summer. Chaos and crazy. We just finished up summer camp and staff are probably still sleeping because it is exhausting. We do activities every day. We go on field trips every day. And it's for kids that basically are ages 8 through high school graduation. Let me talk about Teen Club real quick, and that'll kind of explain what I'm saying about summer camp. So Teen Club is an after-school program. It is similar to a latchkey program. So I have 2 kids. They're now 30 and 28. They went to latchkey. I was a single mom. I had work to do. I lived in Kirkwood. I work in St. Charles County. They had to be at latchkey all the time. They will tell you when they're in therapy, I had to go be a latchkey kid. You'll survive, you know. By 10 or 11, sorry, now you're on your own. So that was the key. Kids with intellectual developmental disabilities maybe don't have the ability to get themselves in their front door at age 12, 15, 18. Maybe can't be left at home alone. Maybe don't have the social skills. Kids after school, they're, you know, calling up their friends, they're texting, they're doing this. Kids with intellectual developmental disabilities maybe don't have that. So this program, this Teen Club after school program, 9 months of the school year, all of St. Charles County, allows these kids with intellectual developmental disabilities to have a place to go after school Monday through Friday. It also, one of the most critical things about this program, it allows parents to work. Using myself as an example again, I'm a single mom. What would I have done if one of my children could not be left alone? There isn't a latchkey for kids typically ages 11 through 18. Doesn't exist. So this is for children with intellectual developmental disabilities through high school graduation. And it allows them to make friends, develop social skills, and also be safe and secure, and it allows parents to work. Same thing in the summer. Summer camp program, ages 8 to 18. There are many amazing summer camp programs out there. And a lot of folks that we serve at a variety of different times maybe go to some of those at the local Parks and Rec, etc. But some of those folks that we serve, maybe that's not an appropriate placement for them. So they can't be maybe in a regular Parks and Rec program, so we have this program. And our staff are fabulous, amazing. I don't know where they find the energy. I've been to a couple of events. We all volunteered last Friday at a heat wave rave. Everything glowed. That's all I have to say. Look out on Facebook. Everything glowed. Anyway, just constant excitement. Kids are having a blast. There's just commotion. And that's what kids should experience in the summer. So it's fabulous. Break camps are just what that sounds like. Summer holiday breaks, spring break, that kind of thing. Okay. So this young lady in the wheelchair is Oksana. She is an amazing success story for community living. She went through a bunch of our children's programs and is now thriving in our day program. And this is just a quote from Oksana's mom, just that because of the programs that she went through, the family's thriving. Oksana's not only thriving, but the family's thriving. Okay. This is Tyler. This is one of my favorite stories in the entire world. So Tyler also went through a lot of our teenage programs. He is literally a big man on campus now. So he went through all of our socialization programs. He participates in our adult rec program. But one of the things that he did after our programs is that he went to a program called the Succeed program through UMSL. It's through the St. Louis Arc, and it's kids with intellectual developmental disabilities get to go to college and like have a 2-year certificate when they graduate. They live on campus, they have the entire campus experience, they go to classes, they have peers that are neurotypical, and then they also have a large group of their peers that have disabilities also. Anyway, Tyler is now an ambassador at UMSL. So he is who you are going to get your tour from, whether you have a disability or not. It's, yeah, like I said, what we do is magic, in my opinion. We've done the magic for a long time. I've been at community living for 41 years, and that's a perfect example. Okay. And this is my community. So these are pictures. Pictures worth 1,000 words. It's much better than listening to me talk. These are pictures of our staff, our participants, our programs, the things that we do on a daily basis. This is why we all come back to work. We're all like, I've done this for a very long time. Excuse me, I love what I do. HR department, the HR department, they're givers also because they give to our staff. They give to our staff who give to our participants. Everybody that works there, whether it be human resources, the admin department, the finance department, the program staff, all 275 of us, we love what we do and we keep coming back, and this is why. So I'll take questions, or like I said, there's brochures out there and everything you could ever want. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you get your funding?
So our funding, we get state funding from Department of Mental Health. That is a federal state match. So Department of Mental Health is probably 50% of our funding. Then, as I mentioned before, the DDRB, the Developmental Disabilities Resource Board, that is a county funding board. We get a couple of $1 million from them. Vocational rehabilitation, that's a part of DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Voc Rehab funds our employment program. We get, there's another funding board called Community Opportunities in Lincoln County. They fund us. United Way, we are a United Way agency. And then there is a private pay component for some of our programs, not all of them. Some of our programs, the funding that we get doesn't cover the full cost, so then there's a private pay component also. Yes, ma'am.
So your folks that are employed in the community, do you have a list of employers and you match, or they apply for a job and when they get a job, you shadow them? Talk a little bit about how that works.
Sure. So a couple of different things to answer that question. We have employers in the community that we already have a relationship with, and we will take our folks with disabilities there sometimes to do assessments. So I'm just making this up. Let's say there's a McDonald's, and we already know the manager, and the manager is familiar with us. We might go there with our person that we're trying to get a job and use that as an assessment site. So we have those throughout the entire county. And yes, I believe it's on our website, we do have a list of employers that we do business with on a regular basis. We have employers that we know are very accustomed to us and very open to hiring somebody with an intellectual disability. We also have some that we know are not interested at all, and we know that by going and asking them. So we do have a couple of different lists. But we also are always open. You say you've got to have tunnel vision, you've got to look ahead, you've got to look ahead. We're always looking off to the sides also. Because let's say somebody comes to us and they want to work at Frankie Martin's garden, and we've never done that before. We're in. We have our staff who are amazing, and they will go out and meet with somebody at Frankie Martin's or just wherever, and say, hey, you know what, this is what I do for a living. We'd like to talk to you about, are you interested? Is that something that if you knew that there was job coaching, if you knew that there was an incentive for you, because we're always with that person eventually, or just around the corner, is that something that you would pursue? So we're always looking for new employers that are willing to work with us. Yes?
Is there funding from the government or whoever that helps subsidize the employers at all?
So there is, or there has been, you know what? You stumped me. There has been a tax incentive for employers. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if those tax incentives have been cut by the federal government. But what I can tell you is a few years ago, we will go in, and that is there is a tax incentive for the employer that if you hire a person with a disability, you can use this tax incentive for yourself. Doesn't come from us, but it's something you apply for. But I don't know with the cuts to federal government, I don't know where that is right now. Yes?
How do you determine what an intellectual ability is? Do they have to have a medical diagnosis from a doctor or in the school system? Or?
Yes. So basically it is a medical designation. It is a diagnosis. And there's a federal definition and a state definition. The federal definition is a little bit more strict, so we go by that. Basically, it is that you have been diagnosed with one of many conditions that limit your ability to participate in certain areas of your life. So if you're going to come to us, typically, this is getting a little deeper into the weeds, but if you're going to come to us, you need to come to us with funding attached. You will go to the Department of Mental Health. You will be deemed eligible for services. Their determination of eligibility involves making sure that you have the appropriate diagnosis. So a mental health diagnosis alone might not get you qualified for us. A diagnosis of Down syndrome, of cerebral palsy, of other types of developmental disabilities. There's a long list. And if you blink, they change the DSM-5. It's not even a DSM-5 anymore. There are case managers that don't work for us, that work for the state and or local entities like the DDRB. They make those determinations. So by the time the person comes to us, we know that if they have funding, they've met all those criteria. Great question. Yes?
Can you talk a little bit more about how your volunteer system works? Do you do take in groups of day volunteers, or is it like long-term volunteerism?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, and
Yes.
yes, okay.
So we have a really fun event was when Keller Williams, there's one particular office of Keller Williams, 60 of them swooped in, took over our family center in O'Fallon, ripped out bushes, cleaned like that place had never been cleaned before, and it was just an all-day event. It was basically like 9 to 3. This group, we had them all sign something. So there's long-term volunteers. Those are people that go through volunteer orientation and training, and a lot of it's like a minimum of training that we put our employees through, but we just condense it. But the long-term volunteers might do adult rec events. They might come to the day program on a regular basis, that kind of thing. And then we call episodic volunteers, or like the Keller Williams group, or a group that would come out. We used to have a group that came out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and they would clean up our respite care home. I walked out one day and there's a kid on the roof, and I'm like, I'm leaving now. There's not supposed to be a kid on the roof. But it was a wrestler, and he's like, I can go get that. And I'm like, so yeah, we don't typically allow kids on our roofs. But any kind of volunteer that we can get, whether it be one day, one event, recurring events. Keller Williams came back a few times. There are some groups, and Lily might know some of this, there are some groups that come regularly, and then there are people that are ongoing volunteers that participate in one particular program.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if my cards are out there, anything like that you might know somebody who's interested in, email me and I will send it to the people who need it.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time today. I love telling our story. It is kind of what I was meant to do with my life. I hope to keep doing it for quite a long time. 41 years, that's nothing. I got a few more left in me.